Hello everyone! Now we will discuss Module 3 Language Use. I am Karen Joy Sigosio and I am with Mark Daryl Saet, Rochelle Escalante, and Clarice Duroni. In Module 3, let us learn about the relation between language and society, society and language determinants, and types of speech community. But in my presentation, let us know what language use means and also let's discuss the basic functions of language and the communicative styles for various situations, since our topic focuses on how language is being used in each particular situations in society. But first, let us have a brief discussion in sociolinguistics. When we say sociolinguistics, it is the study of language in relation to society. It studies the effect of all and any aspects of society, including cultural norms, expectations and context, society's effect on language, and of course, the way language is being used. So, there is a strong relationship between language and society, and language use is strongly affected by some social factors. So here are the factors that affect language use. First, social background. And when we say social background, it is referring to the speaker's ethnic group, social class, education, and others. Secondly, the relationship between the speaker and receiver. So, your relationship with your friend, family, teachers may affect the way you use language. And lastly, the context and manner of interaction that talks about when, where, how the act of language occurs. So, these factors that affect language use have significant effects on the way we use language in our daily interaction. So, this means that the way we use language with our friends, family, is different the way we use language with our teachers and employer. So now, let's proceed or let us know deeper the meaning of language use. Language use refers to the communicative meaning of language. It can be compared to usage, which refers to the rules for making language and the structures we use to make it. So it is referring to the manner of which written and spoken language is being used by the speakers in various situations. And according to linguistics, language is used for communication. Linguistics says we as users of language feel certain that language is used for communication. Language is the result of our communicative needs. Also, it enables us to communicate our general attitudes toward life and others. Besides, language is learned and shared among the members of a speech community. And according to Malinowski, 1923, language is not as a self-contained system, but as entirely dependent on the society in which it is used. So, language functions as a means of communication in our society. We use language for various purposes. For instance, from talking with our friends, family, making speeches, to writing notes or letters to our friends. Henceforth, it is important to view language in terms of the social functions it serves. So now, let's proceed to the primary uses of language. The primary uses of language are informative, expressive, and directive. The main function of language is the usefulness of language. It gives us the ability to communicate thoughts, ideas, and feelings with others as quickly as possible. But within that, we can understand language more by looking at its basic functions. So first, we have the informative function of language. The informative function of language is when we use language to communicate any information. Essentially, its function is to inform others by being able to state facts clearly. So, it is the use of language that can be applied to written and spoken language. And when we use informative function of language, we make a statement that provides information. It simply conveys information. And usually, informative function of language are declarative statements. And when we say declarative statement, it expresses an opinion or a declaration. So it is often seen in analytical reports, descriptions, and in our everyday speech. Secondly, we have expressive function. Another basic function of language is expressive function. As it sounds, it is used to express oneself by giving us ways to convey our feeling, emotions, and attitudes to another person or ourselves. So this function of language reveals an individual happiness, anger, sadness, or another state of emotion. And we can also see this in poetry, literature, and in our everyday speech. Lastly, we have the directive function. The directive function of language is a basic function that helps us to direct or command. So, directive function of language usually found in commands or requests. And it also helps us to tell ourselves or somebody what to do in a particular situation. For instance, close the door, open the windows. Please do not smoke in this area. So that's it. So based on the basic functions of language, we use language to reason, to express ideas, argue a point, to give direction, and many more. And now, let's proceed to the communicative style for various situations. Communicative style is the form of language that a speaker uses, and it is characterized by the degree of formality. This implies that the language used by the speaker varies based on given situation or settings and the person involved. A while ago, we discussed that we use language for various situations, right? And all of us have different kind of relationship to every individual. So, this will affect the way we speak and converse to them. Now, let's learn the types of communicative styles. The first style is formal. This style is used for formal settings. So, formal styles shares information that establishes professional rules and processes. And the speaker uses slang and terminologies. For example, formal speeches like the State of the Nation address of the President, sermons by the priest, and we also have job interview and business meeting. Secondly, intimate. It is a style among intimate members of a family or friends that do not need complete language with clear articulation. The language used in this style may not be shared in public. So it is used among the members of family, friends, or people who are close with each other. Hence, it is a conversation that usually private. For example, asking your pastor for advice about serious problems, conversation between husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, siblings, or parent and children. Third, we have casual style. A casual form of information sharing typically used in personal conversations with friends or family members. So this style is used by peers and friends. And an example of this is simple greeting. And of course, the diction and vocabulary in this style is informal. So for example, conversation with buddies, phone texts, and emails. Next, we have consultative style. It is conversational style in which the speaker constantly observes listeners' verbal and non-verbal cues for feedback. What the speaker will say next depends on the feedback provided by the listener. So in this style, the tone is respectful because it is used when consulting to an expert. And it is an unplanned speech and has active interaction. Besides, the speaker in this style shares information, and while the listener listens and participates continuously. For example, communication between a superior and a subordinate. We have teacher and student, lawyer and client, and doctor and patient. Lastly, we have frozen style. It is the most formal communicative style that is usually used in respectful situation or formal ceremony. It is a formal style which is not really intended to give particular message, but to allow a reader to find many meanings for oneself. And this style is usually known as fixed speech and uses the correct sentence structure and vocabulary known only to a particular field. So for example, we have national anthem, law, prayers, and biblical verses. So that's all. Language is important in society because it enables us to do many things and serves as the principal means of communication in our society. So that's it. We use language for various situations, hence it is relevant for our everyday speech. So that's all. Thank you for watching and God bless.